AM 560, The Answer.
Back on the show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And everybody's affected in some way by coronavirus, some physical health, mental health, employment. But an Evanston CEO, my next guest, beat coronavirus during 6 weeks in self-isolation. They'll be joined by Sonny Sultani, who is that Evanston CEO. Sonny, welcome to the program.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So February was an eventful month for you. You launched new business. Your father fainted and needed hip surgery. Your grandmother died. A lot going on. Tell me a little bit of what else happened in February and in March, and share your story with our listeners.
Yeah, so started a business and a series of events that don't go well for us. Father has some issues. He faints and he needs hip replacement. And then grandma passes away. We're flying back from the funeral. This is where I think I contracted coronavirus. And then when I 2 weeks later, I start feeling sick, and that went straight into isolation for 6 weeks, all while trying to deal with the startup.
Well, let's talk about that startup, and let's talk about how you have been, even in the midst of quarantine, you have grown the business, I believe, upwards of 11 clients across the United States. What's the name of the business, and what do you do?
It's 120 over 80, and we're a digital marketing agency specializing in performance marketing for business-to-business folks.
That is awesome. So while you were getting 120 over 80 underway, how were you able to ramp up the business and grow your clients? Because we're all about entrepreneurship. Share your advice. You certainly are an amazing success story, regardless of coronavirus. But you're fighting off diseases and fighting off all sorts of things, including many family situations at the same time. What was your lesson, and what advice would you share with our listeners?
Well, I had to take some big risk, right? And the first risk I had to take was, as I was falling ill, I had to hire someone. That's hard in itself when you're well, but especially your second employee. I hired someone who was being let go, who was in the marketing department. So I had to take a big chance here to get some help. The second thing I had to do is let my clients know I'm not going to be feeling well. I might not be attentive. And I gave them all an out. I said, hey, if you need to go somewhere else, I will completely understand. Lucky for me, I had some great clients who not only understood, but understood that this was just a pandemic, and it was a really big issue, and they all paid me otherwise. So, I mean, regardless of what was going on. So I was very fortunate to have the right first sets of clients, which usually is a big deal for a small business. So you do what you can. I mean, you get up with a few hours of ounces of energy that you have. You try to make the most of it. You try to stay productive, but you don't know where this virus is leading. You don't know whether you're gonna, you're gonna be well and you're gonna have to take care of these clients, or you're not going to be well and you're dealing with that portion too.
Yeah, and I know that you've talked about how your values have certainly been prioritized in the midst of all of this, and that's understandable both personally as well as professionally. So I want to make sure we sort of highlighted your story, which is a fascinating story, and it's gotten some attention. And I was just privileged to have you. I'm a Skokie guy. You're in Evanston. 120 over 80. How can people learn more about your firm and get in touch with you about your story?
Well, we still have yet to have a website, but if you go to 120over80.com, 120over80.com, there's a contact us, and I'd love to connect with folks right now. It's all about networking right now. So, I'd love to learn about their business. I'd love to share stuff about my business.
All about networking. 120 over 80. Even in quarantine, you could use Zoom. Lots of great platforms, and we are spotlighting lots of great innovation on this program. Sonny, thank you so much for joining me. We are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship to success. Let's get down to business. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll talk to you next Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Did you miss the open